Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with PK, and today we're going to be baking carrot cake. Honestly guys, this was my best carrot cake so far. All I did differently was switched up a few ingredients and it tasted amazing. I really had to be avoiding the fridge guys because we're not trying to gain weight in this quarantine. But anyway, so guys, let's head over to the ingredients and get ready to bake. So for our ingredients today, we're going to be using self-raising flour, baking powder, 3 large eggs, 3 large carrots, caster sugar, vegetable oil, ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, and vanilla essence. So what we're going to do next is grab a knife and just cut the top of the carrot off. Then grab a potato peeler and peel the sides of the carrot. So you're only doing this really just to take off the outer layer of the carrot. Once you finish doing that, take a knife and just cut the bottom of your carrot, and then just continue the process until you finish doing this to all of your carrots. So now that we've finished peeling our carrots, what we're going to do next is grab a grater and grate the carrots. Try to use one of the smaller sections on the grater so that you can get the carrots as fine as possible. The smallest section on my grater is very tiny, so I'm not going to be using that. So what we'll do next is just grab a carrot and just start to grate the carrot. So you're going to continue doing this until you've grated all of your carrots. So put everything into a bowl, separate it to the side, as we're going to come to using that soon. So what I'm going to do next is weigh out 1 cup of vegetable oil. You can use any alternative oil that you want to use, so canola oil, sunflower oil. If you are going to use olive oil, it's probably best to avoid using extra virgin as it has a more strong and pungent taste, but any other vegetable oil should be fine. So once you've weighed out the oil, you're going to pour it into a bowl. Then you're going to grab an egg and crack the egg. So crack the egg in the bowl, and then grab a spoon or a fork and then just mix everything together. We're gonna add in the eggs one by one just so it makes it a lot easier for us to mix it together. So once I got to my 3rd egg, I reverted back to using a fork as I found that whisk the eggs a lot better and it just brings everything together. So once that's done, you will find guys that there will be some oil at the top of your mixture. That's absolutely normal, don't worry about it. So what we're gonna do next is weigh out our caster sugar. So for this recipe, I used 1 1/4 cups of sugar because I wanted it to be sweet but not too sweet. If you want to use a little bit less sugar, feel free, that's fine. If you don't have caster sugar and you only have granulated, you can use that. If you want to use brown sugar instead, go ahead, it's completely up to you. But for this, I used caster sugar. So now we're going to pour out the sugar into the mixture, but we're going to do this very gradually. Don't add everything in all at once, otherwise it's going to be really hard to get a really smooth mixture. So just pour it in little by little and whisk it up with a fork, or you can use an electric whisk at this stage if you want to. So what we're going to do now is we're going to weigh out 2 cups of self-raising flour. We're not going to pour it into the bowl just yet, we're just going to grab a sieve and place it on top of the bowl. We're going to pour the self-raising flour in very gradually because if you put everything in all at once, your mixture is going to be very lumpy and it'll be very hard to mix. So pour it in very gradually. I'll also be adding 2 teaspoons of baking powder and sifting that into the mixture. At this stage, I'm going to use an electric whisk to whisk everything in so that we can have a really nice and smooth mixture. So continue sifting your flour into your mixture and gradually whisking it in. If you don't have an electric whisk, you can just use a fork or a standard whisk, but it would be a lot smoother if you do use an electric whisk. Don't worry if your mixture is quite thick, it will come out thick anyway, but that is not a bad thing. So what we're going to do now is add the carrot in very gradually. This part gets very messy, I must warn you. Also, as a side note, don't worry if your mixture starts to look like coleslaw, that's exactly how mine looked, but it came out really nice. So gradually just add in little bits of carrot, mix it all in until you've been able to get all the carrot in your mixture. So what we're going to do first is add a teaspoon of vanilla, pour it into our mixture. So next we're going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon to our mixture. Then we're gonna weigh out 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. As you can see, I accidentally poured a little bit too much in there, so I've actually added about 1.5 teaspoons of nutmeg, but that's absolutely fine. Once you've added all this in, we're gonna whisk it all up. So now that we're done with the mixture, what we're gonna do next, guys, is grab a baking tin. What I'm gonna use to grease my baking tin today is just some butter and some kitchen roll. So get a bit of roll and rub it along the butter, and what we're going to do is plaster it along the bottom of the tin and along the sides so that the cake doesn't get stuck in the baking tin. If you do have baking parchment paper, feel free to use that, but I didn't have any. So what we're going to do now is pour the cake mixture into the baking tin, and we're going to preheat our oven to 180 degrees. I baked this cake for about 55 minutes, but I did check it around 40 minutes just to check if it was cooked, but at that time it wasn't cooked yet, so I gave it a little bit longer. But do alter this according to your oven. You may find that your cake may cook a little bit quicker than mine, or it may take a little bit longer. Just make sure that you check. After baking my cake for 55 minutes, it is all ready. In order to check if your cake is ready, it's best to put either a toothpick inside the middle of the cake, or you can use a fork if you don't have a toothpick. If you find that the mixture comes up quite wet on the stick or the fork, then you'll know that it's definitely not cooked. And just give it another 5 to 10 minutes and just alternate and see how it is then. So once it comes out dry, then you'll know your cake is definitely baked all the way through. So now I'm just going to put my cake in the fridge to cool down, and we're going to prepare to make our cream cheese mixture. For cream cheese frosting, I'll be using vanilla essence, Philadelphia, butter, and icing sugar. So the first thing we're going to do is grab the Philadelphia. We're going to empty out the whole tub into our mixing bowl. We're then going to weigh out 150 grams of butter. Once you've done that, we're going to weigh out 2 cups of icing sugar. Once you've done that, you're going to weigh out 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence and pour it into the mixture. We're going to add in the icing sugar very gradually, so just a little bit at a time, and whisk it up. It will get a bit messy, but not to worry, we can always clean it up afterwards. So add it in gradually, whisk it up, and what you can do as well is use a spoon just to scrape down the sides, just to make sure you're getting all the icing sugar into the mixture. And now we're all ready to frost our cake. So I'm going to be using a wooden spatula. What I'll be doing is just dipping it into the cream cheese mixture and just pouring it over the cake very gradually, layer by layer, to really have it consistent and quite smooth across the top. I'll also be decorating mine with some crushed walnuts. So I literally just took a tin from the cupboard and smashed it all up and poured it across my cake. And there you go, guys. So that is how you make a nice moist carrot cake, and how you make a very, very simple cream cheese frosting to go on top. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, to like this video, and to comment. And if there's other recipes that you'd like me to cover, feel free to leave a comment below and let me know what you want me to make. So I'll be back with you guys soon, cooking with PK.